But coming up first, I mean, Spotlight.
Yeah, let's
kind
talk
of-
Spotlight.
Yeah, because we haven't talked about that yet. It came out a few weeks ago,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's quite special.
I mean, it's kind
up
of
for
like
Best
second
Picture.
in the running, isn't it? It's either that or The Revenant for Best Picture is what people are saying. Isn't
Really, I thought Big Short's up there as well.
I haven't heard anyone saying
Because it won the PGA Best Picture.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And,
And
it's like the first
that
one in a while that hasn't
yeah,
won.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Of the films that could kind of come in there and steal it from The Revenant, and I mean steal, Spotlight seems the most likely.
Possibly.
Purely because of the subject matter, in my opinion.
oh yeah, definitely. It's very much like an Oscar baity subject matter, but it's
Yeah.
not done in a very Oscar baity way.
Ben, what is that Oscar Beatty subject matter?
You're gonna make me say it on the
Plot
radio.
summary.
aren't
Well, okay, basically,
Yeah,
it
Jack, you do
follows
it.
the story of the Spotlight team, which is the kind of investigative journalism team at the Boston Globe, and it's just following their Pulitzer Prize-winning investigation into, I think it was 2003 or 2004, into essentially the kind of priest molesting scheme scandal that they kind of have, and how it's not only just the odd priest or something like that, but how it's an establishment that they kind of helped
Yeah,
brush
systematic.
under the rug
yeah.
for a number of years.
you? Terrifying.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
it's just
so
terrifying, isn't
pretty
it? Yeah.
grim, dark subject matter, isn't it? Really,
But it's done. I wouldn't say kind of. It's not uplifting at all.
No.
But it's not like the most miserable film you'll ever see in your life ever. It's not the sort of film where you kind of walk out and go, "I need to shower."
Yeah, it's not
just-
Schindler's List.
No, it's just kind of. But it plays the subject matter well. It plays it very kind of with the right amount of darkness, with the right amount of intensity, but never too much, never too little. And no, I think that's why that's why I like it. It nails the tone, like right from the off.
I thought it was interesting in that. So it's kind of with our age kind of generation, we've kind of grown up with the stereotype that priests are inherently creepy now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
And you don't really think about a time before where the molestation stuff wasn't coming out.
Yeah, and
It's
I
interesting
thought that
to see
exactly when I was watching
this is
that.
kind
Yeah,
of like the breakout moment of that, and it's weird kind of coming to terms with that, because you must think about how how so many people have obviously trusted these people beforehand, and now that's kind of breaking down, and it's just something that we kind of grew up not really knowing that trust beforehand in a way, and it was interesting to see the initial stages of that. Yeah.
I think a lot of that comes through the acting as well. Like you really see that through people's performances of how they are kind of completely dumbfounded by what they're finding.
yeah,
Particularly Mark Ruffalo.
yeah. Mark
He-
Ruffalo's, for me, the best.
He's the
performance.
MVP of Spotlight, I think, because
I
it's
think he
it's a
gets-
great cast, but he is the standout.
Yeah, he gets the best kind of emotional moment with
Definitely.
the speech that's in the trailer actually, and that's just kind of it's relating about how it could relate essentially to their own lives as well, rather than just being a detached story that they're
Exactly.
not involved
It's
with
it's a perfect example of journalism kind of like leaking into culture, mainstream culture, rather than just being something you read in the newspapers. It becomes something that actually affects the whole world.
Yeah,
I thought it was very kind of similar in style to All the President's Men, which is a similar
Yeah.
kind of press expose film. But they both have that kind of quite sort of stripped down aesthetic. There was like, I was
Definitely.
saying this to you before, that there's nothing in terms of the film's aesthetics that really sort of shout at you. You know, it's quite it sort of places the emphasis on the script, on the story, which I guess
And-
is kind of the most important
Yeah,
thing about
yeah.
it.
And it's good because the script kind of pays off as well. It would be one thing if they kind of stripped back because I mean, like everything, the sets are incredibly dull. The lighting is kind of quite muted. Even the costumes are very kind of just like casual workday drab.
It's just
There's-
Boston,
Yeah,
basically.
there is literally nothing special visually about
Yeah.
this film at all. But in doing that, like you say, James, it kind of relies so heavily on the script. But they're very lucky in the fact that the script is incredible.
Yeah.
So I feel like if this film deserves any Oscar, the most it is it original screenplay? It would be whichever
no,
of the
I think it's
screenplay adapted.
Yeah.
Then
It's
whichever
adapted from-
screenplay category it's
yeah.
up for, I feel like it deserves that category easily
Yeah.
because
I
it's such a
definitely agree with that.
moving and powerful script.
Well, I've got a quote from Harrison, who can't be with
Ooh.
us today,
Ooh.
and it's basically just well acted and competently constructed, but kind of left me cold. Which
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that
Cold.
because there's a kind of an emotional detachment from the film, isn't there? Because
Hmm.
I suppose it's kind of it's not, you couldn't go well either way, because if you tried to get overly emotional with this newspaper story, it could come off very ham-fisted, kind of like if it cut to a cutaway of someone actually getting abused or something like that, it would be very kind of too in your face. But on the other hand, without doing any of the kind of human relations side of it, it does come off a bit too analytical in how it's showing this incredibly painful thing for so many other people.
I think at times, definitely, because it's a lot of the time, like you say, it is quite analytical. It is about them gradually breaking the story. It's about them investigating it. But I think the emotional payoff at the end is enough to kind of warrant that.
Yeah.
I think there is a bit of a sucker punch at the end when they finally do have the evidence and they can kind of deliver the story as you read it in the newspaper now. And it is very, very moving at the end without being sappy.
See, I agree with that to an extent, but I didn't feel like it did have that real sort of significant payoff at the end.
Really?
I didn't leave. I left the cinema thinking, like feeling a bit kind of that was pretty grim, but I don't know. I didn't feel like it was as tied up as I wanted it to be.
I thought it was quite telling that it almost was a more emotional moment when the story got sent out than when they're talking to some of the victims.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, because when it's the newspaper's being sent out, it's kind of the build-up of everything in the film. But when they're doing emotional scenes, such as the kind of cliche talk about when he's saying he got the ice cream and it starts melting down his hand or something like that, and it's very, I think they could have worked more on the emotional sides of it rather than. Although they do the other side of it very well.
Yeah, I guess it's difficult, isn't it, in a film like this, because it's sort of real people, things that happen to real people. They've got to be as kind of sensitive about it as the people, that were writing the original story. And that was something I was kind of keeping in mind when watching it. Is I was thinking, well, the people making this film have had to be just as conscientious as the
you kind of got to
the
stay away
journalists.
from like emotional blackmail.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, no, I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate
a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I
not a film
admire
that
it.
I feel like I have to watch again.
No.
It's very clear and, like Harrison said, competently constructed. So it's just kind of all there, and you get it the first time. And I think that's what it is. It's just a good story, isn't it?
It's quietly well made as well. Like it won't make any point of like dancing around and being like, look how great this shot is, or look how great this bit of acting is, or whatever. It's just kind of all
It's
there,
just-
and you just appreciate it.
Complementing the story,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was.
Should we move on to ratings?
Yeah,
Yeah. I'd say 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that.
I'd go with an 8. I feel like as kind of competent and quiet as it was, it still feels like that needs to be celebrated in a way, because there are a lot of films where you'd go like, oh, that bit's wrong, or that bit's wrong, or his bit of acting there was too over the top, or whatever. Whereas here, I felt like it was mostly on the level, and it was. I don't know
I agree
what
with you.
more to say.
It's on another. It's better than most true story.
Exactly,
films.
yeah.
It's not trying. It doesn't feel like it's trying to embellish the facts.
And I never sat there thinking like, oh, this is just over dramatized Oscar garbage. It felt quite sincere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I liked that.
I definitely agree with that.